What was the big rumor in your high school? Did it turn out to be true? In my high school shortly after 9/11, people all of a sudden started passing out left and right and some even had to be hospitalized. Rumor was that it was another terrorist attack, only this time they were releasing noxious chemicals into the ventilation system. We were evacuated and didn't have school for about 3 days while they investigated. Truth was, it was just moldy sandwiches and rotten fruit. Someone had been hiding their friend's lunch in one of the vents for like 2 weeks. Edit. All of a sudden I get people telling me that all of a sudden is incorrect. I'm just here to tell a story. Damn. There was this kid. He was absolutely terrible at singing and acting. Yet every year, he was the lead role in whatever play musical the drama class was putting on. Rumor had it that he was banging the drama teacher. It was never actually confirmed, but summer after graduation, the two of them went on a trip to Europe together. Spanish teacher was allegedly in Playboy in the mid-70s. Turned out to be true. That a freshman girl was caught giving a pterodactyl to 3 seniors in the stairwell. Yes. Edit. The best part was that the person who discovered them was our grandmotherly biology teacher. The stairwell was directly behind her room. I imagine she said something like "oh my word" when she saw them. Really makes the story kinda silly. There was a rumor that some kid at my school died of an overdose or something. Everybody, including people who didn't even know the guy, made Facebook posts about how good of a guy he was and even created Facebook groups dedicated to his memory. Turns out kid was just got really sick for a couple of weeks and his friends decided to duck with everybody. Kid was like meh, duck it and played along. That I was gay? No. When I was a freshman in high school, the hot girl was a sophomore. Next year she wasn't in school anymore. The year after that I heard she was in porn. Turned out to be true. The school had to block her name in Google. That some guy took so much acid that he thought he was a carton of orange juice, and if he fell over all the orange juice would spill out and he'd die. No, it wasn't true. A special needs kid created a hit list that included most of the black people in my school. It turned out to be true. Edit. Happened in NJ. There was an underground pool that only the teachers had access to. My high school was built around 1999. Was supposedly designed like a prison. Has a massive amphitheater. And doesn't have any real walls aside from dividers in the wing areas. It also drew from a very affluent area, so you can imagine that shenanigans were always happening. From people smearing it on the walls in the bathroom, to people snorting lines of coke off a textbook. Anyways, every person at my high school has heard about the pool rumor. Hell, it already had 3 levels and an amphitheater. So why not a pool? The teachers would often joke or allude to the pool about how it was the last thing built, or that it wasn't filled with water so it couldn't be used. It was supposedly right under the gym floor and the gymnasium itself could open up to reveal a pool. I had 0 period weight training my junior and senior year, and we'd occasionally scout the gym to see if there was any hidden access port to it. We found nothing. There was a rumor at my school that a history teacher and girls volleyball coach was having sex with a few students. Very true. He was taken out of class and put in handcuffs. I was friends with 2 of the maybe 4 girls. Edit. People keep asking where this happened, so for those curious, it happened in Southern California 2009. Middle-aged high school history teacher was hitting on the freshman girls a little too much. The lingerie he bought for one of them was some damning evidence that got him fired. Rumor. Some kid jacked off in the cafeteria ranch dressing. Reality. Some kid jacked off in the cafeteria ranch dressing. He had to get tested for STDs since a ton of people consumed it. So there was a chance they could have gotten one from him. Luckily he was clean. Google for news article verification. That our JV girls softball coach was sleeping with one of the players. It was true. The news covered it and everything. He was mid-30s and she was 16. Teacher was selling coke to students and letting them smoke weed in her classroom, get high on coke at her house. Yes, it turned out to be true. This was the same year the middle school teacher at the school next door was busted for child touching. Why are there so many teachers banging students? I went to an all-boys boarding school. Well, there was a rumor that many of the very popular upperclassmen were having kind of a gay orgy, including one of the adults in charge of a floor in the student housing. All these guys were pulling crazy amounts of girls. Everyone was 18 out of the orgy, so everyone can stand down. Adult was fired immediately once rumor spread at end of term. True. Teacher took 2 students to a concert and then had a 3-way. Was true. And then a year or 2 later I think one of our coaches did the same thing. It was rumored my former 9th grade science teacher was going to pose for Playboy. It was completely untrue, because she skipped straight to porn. Leah Lust. Super NSFW. That a girl there regularly had sex with horses. I still to this day have no idea if it was true. She was pretty chill though. TL. DR, that's my breakfast. When I was in high school, there was a girl, can't remember her name, let's call her Jamie, who was dating this kid we all called Army Drew because he wore army fatigues to school. Well, story goes that Army Drew's parents were out of town, so he invited Jamie over for the night. They stayed in his parents' master bedroom and did what unsupervised high school kids do. Sex. They had sex. Anyways, the next morning, they're both still naked as the day they were born. Army Drew gets up to go to the bathroom, while Jamie lounges in the nice big bed. She's laying on her stomach when Army Drew comes back and shoves his face into her ass and begins motorboating her chocolate starfish like he's digging for lemons with his tongue. Then, he rears back and hollers into the morning air. That's my breakfast. The incident got around school because girls tell their best friends everything. And as soon as they get in one little fight over some minute bullet, the best friend blabbers their most embarrassing weird sex situations all over the lunchroom and MySpace. For some reason, no one gave Army Drew any it for it, but Jamie had people yelling "that's my breakfast" at her for months afterwards, and I, who had one class with her, still remember it 10 years later. I'm sure she's thrilled she made such a lasting impact on so many people. The world was going to end on the 20th of April, 1999. I have no idea how this rumor got started, but people were dead serious about it, and then the world didn't end and everything went on as normal. That my brother and I were dating each other. Big fat no. So there was this quiet kid at my high school. Call him B. B had friends, but they were all secluded. They didn't talk to the rest of the school. So B gets sick one day. He goes to the doctor and has to stay home for a while. He's not in danger of dying, but he's contagious and thus has to stay home for about 2 weeks. Our classes were pretty small, so people started to notice after 2 days that he was missing. Rather than ask his friends, like logical people, his classmates just assumed he was dead. In less than a week the whole school knew B had been run over by a truck and people were trying to figure out when his funeral was. Needless to say, people were confused when he pulled a Jesus, minus the scars. He got a kick out of it, and it became a joke around school to say "I thought you died" when B showed up anywhere. That a friend of mine was gay, even though he had an on-again off-again girlfriend. He came out right after high school, likely was afraid of getting harassed, bullied, which is understandable since some kids' teens can be senselessly mean. This girl could deep throat a roll of Ritz crackers. I don't know about the crackers, but I know how far she got when she blew me. That my best friend was having sex with another girl in our class in the science lab. Tiny, private Islamic school. That talk spreads fast. It wasn't true, but man, those few weeks were brutal. There was an around 30-year-old teacher at my high school who was rumored to have fake boobs. This wasn't actually a rumor because she told people that it was true and was not ashamed at all. She was married. There was another rumor that she was sleeping with the only 2 black kids at the school, who were seniors at the time and 18, so technically it wasn't illegal. She was asked to resign after the school met with her and the boys and their parents, and then she got divorced. So I'm going to go with, yes, it was true. After I graduated, my cheerleading coach told me that she had gone to a party with one of the guys who she had supposedly slept with, and he told her that it was true and that she was the worst duck he'd ever had. The ducked up part of this is that this teacher had a little brother, who was also a senior, and the 2 boys she slept with definitely bullied him, prior to his sister deciding it was a good idea to sleep with them, and after. Of course, she was a terrible person. That my wife was a huge slut. I didn't know her at the time, but knew of her. The stories that went around about her were really crazy, but no one knew what was true and what wasn't. Stories of blowing half the football team at once, sleeping with teachers, male and female, orgies, anal, and everything else. She settled down a bit in her 20s. We got together, now married with kids. She tells me in detail the stories of what really happened. Let's just say that 99% rumors were true. There was a rumor that a kid ducked a cat. It was true. People made Tumblr blogs of it. It spread like wildfire. Edit. This rumor was in Philadelphia. In middle school, we always heard rumors of the hot reading teacher banging students. I didn't really believe it, but duck I wanted to. She'd wear short skirts and skimpy clothing, but never really seemed like the kind of teacher to do that. Then about 7 years later, I saw on the news about how she and a paid teacher from the local high school were in a love triangle with a 6th grade female student at the school. I was ecstatic, not because she was banging kids, but because the childhood rumor we all had turned out to be true. Then I realized I was no longer friends with any of the other students that talked about those rumors, and had nobody to excitedly tell. Teacher forgot to turn off her microphone headset and everyone heard her going to the restroom. There were 2 boys, Mark and Richard, who went away with Richard's dad to a holiday house. One of them left a piece of clothing to dry on a heater and the house caught fire, killing Mark and burning 40% of Richard's body. The dad, to my knowledge, didn't have any serious burns. The rumor was that Richard's dad saved his son but didn't even try to save Mark. The rumor was bogus, but it had everyone talking about it for a year. What had actually happened was the Mark dried his jumper on the heater in his room, which was located on the top floor. He was already dead by the time the dad could reach him. A girl in our middle school was getting paternity tests to figure out who the father of her daughter was. They finally found out it was a senior, but not before rumor spread that the last person they were going to test was a classmate's father. Turned out to be true, however. Her, at the time boyfriend, decided to raise the daughter, and although they're no long dating, he still plays the father role. That one of our English teachers had written erotic novels under a pseudonym. We never could find them, but given some of the stuff he used to give out in class and his general way, it was certainly plausible. That Tiffany had 2 buttholes. We will never know. My English teacher got an earring, and there was a rumor that he went with a student. That turned into a rumor about how he was getting tattoos with students and paying for them. In one version of the rumor, he himself pierced a student's ears, and in another, the student pierced his ears. He told us to please spread a rumor that he was a crack baby, because the only way to counteract a rumor is to drown it with an even more vicious rumor. The next semester, some PTA parent was overheard asking if it was true he was a crack baby. Everyone forgot about the earring thing and he went right on teaching. He also revealed the next semester that his earring was fake to begin with, but he hadn't wanted to remove it because he was curious to see how far the rumor would go. So, no, none of the rumors were true. As far as I know. I heard he later got a real earring, but I'd graduated by then, so I don't know. It seems like the sort of thing he'd do. That some kids were selling heroin, which later was found out to be weed, then just pot brownies, and finally just regular brownies. Funny how much kids can over-exaggerate things. Not exactly a rumor, but my pay teacher, who is married and Catholic, is following a person on Twitter named Pacifics. It's exactly what it sounds like. A sophomore came out of the closet so that he would be able to get close to the senior girls. Then, after the friendship was cemented, he would say he was confused and get the girls to sleep with him. I was that sophomore. It was not true. That the author of 50 Shades of Grey was an alumnus. True. Happened in college, but one of the sergeants with our ROTC battalion was always super weird, especially around kids. So we always joked that he underage poked. He got arrested a year later on 47 counts of 6 with a minor. That the head cheerleader and the baseball star, not her boyfriend, were ducking in the bathroom during class. Both were from very wealthy families. Never confirmed, but we suddenly got a new football field and both teams got ice. in school suspension which doesn't go on your HS transcript for unknown reasons for a day. Another rumor was that the vice principal was sleeping with the married nurse. It was true. The video of them starting to duck in the elevator was shown on a local news channel. Also, the nurse ended up pregnant with his baby. Predated my time in high school and continued after. The shop teacher had allegedly been caught masturbating in his office. He was dubbed Captain Jack. Every year someone would convince some uninitiated freshman to call him Captain Jack. Probably not. But he did get furious and red in the face with anger when called Captain Jack, and on one occasion smashed a table with a hammer. He was so pissed off by it. I acted fairly masculine in high school, especially since I was a teenage boy. For whatever reason, rumor got around that I was trans or that I wanted to be a girl. Despite me literally never displaying anything of the sort that would indicate that desire, I was made fun of mercilessly. So they probably just started it to be even bigger assholes than they already were. Well, I showed them. I'm MTF trans. Motherfuckers. Eat it. It wasn't that big of a rumor, but it was commonly speculated that one of the teachers had things going on with some male students. Turned out to be true. Not my school, but a friend of mine went to school in Gloucester, MA, where 17 girls got pregnant and essentially made a pact to raise their babies together. It's old news by now, but I heard about the rumors ages before they were confirmed to be true by national news. The entire thing was absolutely wild. And yes, a few of the girls did in fact get themselves pregnant by a homeless man who lived in the area. At the beginning of each year, the geometry teacher would choose a male student who she'd sleep with during the year. One year it was supposedly a guy I knew reasonably well, yet I never heard a word from him about it. Plus, it seemed a little too Bull Durham white to me. That the grade 8 English teacher was a lesbian pedophile. There was a big investigation into her, actually in part started by me and my parents, into her favoritism towards female students. It turned out no male student had ever gotten higher than a C and no female student lower than a C+B in her entire employment. But I guess a few female students that she had had relations with of varying degrees heard about the investigation but thought it was an investigation into her sexual activities. So they came forward and confessed because they didn't want to get in trouble. I don't know why they thought they would get in trouble for it. Maybe they were trading favors for grades or something. They inadvertently outed her as being a pedophile and she disappeared from the school. One of the janitor's daughter had sex on the stage in the cafeteria after hours when she stole her dad's keys. I was the guy, so I'm pretty certain it was true. That our music teacher got fired because he banged a student in the soundproof room. Yes, it was true. Assistant football coach was banging a student during detention in the teacher lounge. It was true. Her friend told her mom, who then reported it to authorities. They had to go to court. I don't know what happened to him. A male teacher was accused of being inappropriate with female students. I don't remember if the rumor mill said that touching was involved. This was the early 1990s. In 2012, though, a student ended up suing him. A lot of guys said that a really beautiful famous girl in my high school didn't use panties in school. The girls wore uniform which was skirt and shirt. Those guys said that they can saw it when the girl sat. Never confirmed though. I couldn't see below there. There was a rumor at my high school that I was bisexual. I was just confused. There was a rumor that Vivian, the super Christian, no sex before marriage girl, was pregnant. It was. She had twins. Then she turned into one of those itty photographers who only pictures of her kids in grayscale on Facebook, so I deleted her. That a teacher raped a student at the end of year prom. It wasn't true. She admitted she lied for attention. Poor bloke lost his job, his wife, everything. He was one of the best teachers there, and he couldn't get hired after that, even though he was acquitted. That our school was built on a graveyard. No, it isn't. There was a rumor one of the girls in the year above me got spit roasted by two guys while on a school camp in I believe year 9. For that year level's final assembly, where they get to basically put on a show for the whole school. The girl was carried out attached to a piece of wood, like a pig on a spit. Not sure if that confirms it, or if that girl was just remarkably cool with the rumor, but it was pretty funny either way. That the administration knew that us students had figured out the guest Wi-Fi password where nothing is blocked, and we didn't have to register our MAC addresses. They changed the password once a week, and 1 week it's changed to register reordervis 212. Rumor confirmed. That a sophomore was going to call the police and claim that her ex-boyfriend, a junior, raped her. I graduated before I found out what happened. Not a rumor, but a kid showed the class's website that he had made Star Trek Next Gen theme that linked up to his webcam in his room. One day he was not at school, the class went to his website and webcam, and there he was jerking off. The whole school found out. We never saw him again. That I pissed myself during a really long football game when I was playing offense, defense and kick return. Never leave the field. This was true. I actually tried to brag about it by framing it like I played so ducking hard that game that I lost bladder control from muscle exhaustion. They didn't take it the way I intended. I also played center and the QB was pretty pissy afterwards. We all just knew that one of the guys in our graduating class had died in Vietnam the summer after we graduated from high school. Common knowledge. Everybody knew. He showed up at the 10-year reunion, not dead. He had been working in Vegas as a dancer in a big musical show. There was a new girl in my high school. She was thin, pretty and outgoing. Very quickly became popular. Within a week she was dating a jock and hanging out with all the cool people. Then a rumor hit the school about why she transferred. Apparently she was at a party and decided to participate in a gangbang. It was dark, and without knowing it, she ducked her brother. All of her friends and her BF dropped her so quickly. Then she stopped showing up to school. It was never truly confirmed. My oldest friend went to her former school and said that rumor was why she left that school as well. That my teacher and I were dating.